Our theme for the month, again, is Pulled by Vision. Our contemplative meditation this week, I believe, is done by Michele, with Jackson doing the music. So with that in mind, I'll turn it over to Michele.
Wow, the gang's all here. Today's meditation, I have a couple of quotes to read, and then we'll have some quiet time, and then Jackson will take us into the invocation. So there's two quotes I have. One's very short and one's a little longer. So if you just relax into your chair and allow yourself this time. Allow yourself this time to just be here now. To allow that healing light, that healing perfect energy of spirit to dwell within. None but ourselves can free our mind. Bob Marley. And from Ernest Holmes, there, through the door of our own thought, we enter into the universal consciousness, into a complete realization of life and truth, of love and beauty. And as we sit in the silence of our own souls and listen, it will be the greatest thing we ever do. And in grace, we are all gathered here this morning, knowing that light, that love, that power of spirit is within each and every one of us. And as we become more conscious of it, so too does it flow through our life with greater vibrancy and perfect energy. And I know that as we gather here this morning, that we are in the right and perfect place, and that the words that Reverend Angelica has to speak this morning will be just the words that we need to hear. And I know that within all of us is this beautiful, unconditional love that builds and oozes out of us into the world around us and to all those we meet. And I know that as we move forward in our day this morning, that it will be beautiful and joyous, love and light-filled. And so it is.
I am God's love. I give thanks for good. I live my life in grace.
And I step down and welcome up Reverend Angelica.
Sounds so good, so good. Well, good morning, everyone. It's good to see everybody this morning. The topic this morning is free your mind. And that was an interesting quote that you had in your...
It just came to me yesterday.
That was good. That was really good. I liked it.
From our global vision, we read, we see a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with his or her highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other. A world in which individually and collectively we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. Isn't this
A magnificent vision.
See everybody in alignment with their highest spiritual principle. Really getting to a place. And this is sort of a story that we talk about every single Sunday. Getting to that place of knowing that all there is the divine. There isn't anything but the divine. And recognizing that if this is true, then every single person, animal, insect, plant,
Even all the inanimate objects, it's all God. It's absolutely all God. And yet, even though we're studying this teaching and we're learning that this is our truth, and sometimes we believe it, sometimes we don't, we get into that place where sometimes we don't, where we forget that absolutely everything is God. And we forget that in this idea of God that we have, we recognize that it's unconditionally loving, and it is infinitely intelligent, and it is all powerful. So some of you get my Friday message and you read about my little freak out that I had this week, where for the last couple weeks I've had a cough and a cold and all this kind of stuff, and I go to my chiropractor last Monday, and she says, "You've had this a while, I think you should go get another COVID test." I totally forgot about everything being God. I went into a fear place. I went into this, that was Monday morning when she said that, and she told me, go to the one at the Warfinger building. So I went online and I found that, and I, started out, and there's, have you had any of these symptoms? Check, 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 check. I turned it off. I couldn't do it. Later on during the day, I thought, okay, now we really need to do this, so let's just go back through it again. And again, I got to that list of symptoms, and my stomach started being nervous, and my whole body was like, I almost felt like I was going to faint, and I went out of the program again. And finally, in the afternoon, around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I decided, okay, now we've got to do this. Let's just get it over with. So what, just move through all this fear. And so I did it, and it got to the place where the symptoms, I managed to get past that. And the next thing was for an appointment. And there was one at 5 o'clock, like just that day, a few minutes later. But I made it for 5:30 instead. And then I drive over there, and they greeted me so nicely. There wasn't anybody in there but me and the the medical technicians, you know, she asked me, the first lady that I talked to said, well, how are you feeling? And I said, well, I either have a really bad cold or, and she goes, oh, you haven't been feeling well. I said, no, not really. And so, and then they give you an option. You can do the test to yourself, or you could have the nurse do it. Well, I decided the nurse would do it. That would be a lot easier. And it was so much easier than it was months ago when we all went to Redwood and had those tests and they jammed it way up into your brain, it felt like. They don't do that anymore. But they told me 1 to 2 days for the results. So that night, I could not sleep. I started going through all this what ifs. And some of the what ifs were, well, what if I get really sick? And what if I end up having to go to the hospital and intubated? And what if I die? That's where it eventually got to. What if I got COVID? What if I have COVID and I die? Well, you know,
I have written a letter about what I want done with some of my valuable things. And it's on my computer, but then I thought, oh, you gotta take this one out and add this and you gotta do this. I mean,
thinking of all these practicalities, and then I'm thinking, oh my God, I really better clean this house because I don't want, you know, I remember going to Bobby's when Bobby was sick, and you know, we were cleaning and doing a lot of stuff, and it's like, you know, I should really just get rid of so much that I haven't. I mean, I'm going through all this stuff, but I couldn't go back to sleep because there was all this. I don't want to go yet. You know, I feel like I have so much life left, and you know, I mean, all this fear. And I was caught in a circle of fear. Have you ever been there? I know we all have. Where you try to work yourself out of it, and you just work yourself deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's like a circle of, you know, a never-ending spiral, a circle of fear. This spiral, however, seems to go downward instead of upward, like we talk about here. But in order to move beyond that place, one, we've got to be prayed up. So maybe we don't even go into that place in the first place. You know, I've talked to people who have had near-death experiences, and you know, it's not a bad thing. You know, it's and I read something that Thich Nhat Hanh said just the other day about it's the getting there that's the bad part. You know, the fear about it, that's the bad part. The rest is easy. You know, about leaving this dimension. And anyway, I picked up some, I got some ideas here about how to free our minds, not only from the fear of dying, but the fear of anything that's happening in our life. Right? Anything.
it could be financial, it could be in relationship, it could be health, of course, and it could be in whatever your creativity is. So the first thing we want to do is really ask ourselves,
Is this really true? If I had asked myself Monday night, is this really true, I would have had to say, I don't know. But my mind was already working under the presumption that I was going to get a positive test. Right? So, is this really true? I don't know. You know, this is the work of Byron Katie. Is this really true? The stories that we're telling ourselves. And then her next question is this really, really true? And then there's a third question that I can never remember. But that question that I need to ask myself, that we need to ask ourselves when we're going into a fear space is the story I'm telling myself right now really true? And then, so that, I think most of the time we're going to find out that it's not. It's something that we've built up. We've been mesmerized by the world to think that as you get older, you're going to get sick and die. We've been mesmerized to think that as you get older, your muscles are going to get weaker and weaker. We've been mesmerized into thinking that you're going to need lots of medication. I'll never forget this experience I had of going to the eye doctor and filling out this form, and what medications you take. I don't take any. I haven't taken any in who knows how long. And I take vitamins, right? And so I just wrote down vitamins. And the lady says, when I give it to her and goes back and sits down, she's come back up here, you don't take any medications? I said, no. For blood pressure? No. For, just kept going down this list. No, I don't take anything except for vitamins. And the one other lady that was there said, I wish I could do that. And I said, well, you can. Just start believing in it. So, but we're being mesmerized or hypnotized into believing that things are not going to end well in just about anything. So, ask yourself, I believe everybody should be meditating. Absolutely everybody. Meditation can be a simple thing of sitting down in the morning and just maybe reading something like we do in the Contemplative and then letting your mind ponder that, or just breathing into stillness. John O'Donohue, a great poet, says,
into the quiet that lies beneath the chaos, where you find the peace you did not think possible and see what shimmers within the storm.
Isn't that beautiful?
Let there be a opening into the
Quiet that lies beneath the chaos. If I had stopped that last Monday night, and allowed myself just to start breathing and remembering the truth of my being and going to that God space within me, I could have gotten off that wheel, that fear wheel. But the fear wheel is so clingy, it's like Velcro. It's almost
like you have to rip it off like a band-aid and that seems to hurt. But I love that idea that the quiet is beneath the chaos and you see what shimmers within the storm. If we get to that place where we're feeling fear of remembering that
all there is God. And let ourselves meditate on that. Some meditations for me
necessarily sit in silence every morning. Sometimes my meditation is a walking meditation with a cup of coffee around my yard. And really looking at those roses that are growing on my bushes.
and noticing things that I might not have noticed in the garden, but being in the present moment, thinking about what is only right in front of me. So meditation could be many different things, but I believe that meditation brings us back to the center every single time, if we allow it to, and if we believe that it will. So allow yourself to meditate more, and then you won't so easily fall into the fear spiral. And of course, I believe that we should use spiritual mind treatment to reset our minds. And we should do that all the time. You know, to me, those of you who've studied spiritual mind treatment know that there's the 5 steps. And if you don't know, the 5 steps are: 1, all there is God. 2, God and I are one. 3, we speak our word for what we want. 4, we're grateful for it. And 5, we release the prayer into the law. However, to me, the only steps that are really, really important are 1 and 2. Remembering that all there is this divine energy, or this thing that we call God, and then remembering it's not something outside of us, it is everything, and unifying with that, remembering that that's what we are, is God in form. right here and right now. And it seems to me, at one point I realized that we could live in those steps. If you live in the first 2 steps, you don't have to go any further. You don't ever have to ask for anything or declare that you have anything, because the universe knows what's good for you before you even can think about it. However, because we are who we are, then we do go into that 3rd step of speaking our word for what we want. And maybe it's gotten to a place with you, as it is with me, that I rarely speak for anything physical or material anymore. It's more about the consciousness that I desire to experience and express. So if I had a Monday night to reset my mind, I could have done that treatment for living fear-free. Now, I'd like to tell you that I woke up Tuesday morning and I was fear-free. You know, I did that dark night of the soul thing, and then, you know, was just fine the next day. But everything was colored with this thought: what if? What if I have COVID? And it made me realize just how much the whole world has been afraid for 16 months or whatever it's been. And not only have we been there, but it's like every time we turn around, we hear about a new variant. We hear about, you know, we look at the numbers about how many people went to the hospital, etc. I would like us to reset our minds, to be maybe that small group of people that can change the consciousness of the universe. But recognizing what we're afraid of and allowing ourselves to move out of that place of fear into a place where we're constantly acknowledging this too is God. This too is God. Everything is God. Now you might say, okay, if everything is God, then COVID is God too. Well, it is. Everything is God. We've judged it to be bad, and so it has to be bad for us. When we really think about it, on a higher level, it's like we've all had a mind reset, a consciousness reset over this past period of time. As I've told you before, I believe that we're moving upwards on what Dr. Holmes called the ever upward emergent, evolutionary emergence spiral. And so we're got our pedal to the metal to get up to that next round of the spiral. And so in this time that we were given to be alone, we got to do a lot of things. We got to face our fears. We got to see what was important to us. And one of the things I've noticed that has been the most important for people is relationships. It's no longer about get wealthy. You know, if you look at Facebook, you'll see all these people out there now are doing these new seminars about getting wealthy and, you know, manifesting whatever you want, etc., etc. And yes, that's good. But that's like first grade consciousness. You know, now we've realized, oh, I can do that. That's easy. Now we're moving into really resetting our consciousness to a higher level. And that higher level is, once again, recognizing who we are. That all life is divine, including ours. So ask yourself, the stories you're telling, is it really true? Let yourself meditate every single day. 2 or 3 times if necessary, to get back into that opening, into the quiet that lies beneath the chaos, where you find the peace you did not think possible and see what shimmers within the storm. And use spiritual mind treatment to reset your mind. Dr. Holmes says in Thoughts Are Things, as you learn to release all your burdens to the right action of God, you will find that everything falls into its proper place. You let your problems slip away from you, realizing that a power greater than you are and a presence that is within you is ready, willing, and able to guide you in all ways. Then peace, security, and fulfillment come with ease, and there is a sense of joy and accomplishment. Isn't that a wonderful promise? As we release, as we let go of all of our burdens, all of our fears, the universe is like rushing in to create a greater life for us. A place where we really feel that we are the beloved in whom God is well pleased. And where we share that love with others. So let's do this affirmation together and then go into treatment. In the silence, I free my mind of everyday constraints and joyfully roam in the unlimited, boundless possibilities of the universe. I am open, I am free, I am love. So gratefully we acknowledge this. We are open, we are free, we are love. And I know that as we acknowledge this, we remember that this is all possible because we know who we are. The divine. This amazing energy that is called by many different names all around the world, but is the same energy. That energy that makes it possible for our lives to be what we believe they are. So I know that knowing that it is done unto us as we believe, we open ourselves to a greater idea of what life is. We let go of all of those old stories. Even if they were true in our childhood, they're no longer true now. So whatever stories we've been hanging on to, we breathe and we just drop them. We just let them go. And we know that the energy of those stories is immediately transformed into something else. Something higher, more beautiful. And so I declare for each one of us, using the first person, I am ready and willing to be all that I am, the I am. I am ready and willing to experience and express more love, more joy, more wisdom, more light. I am ready to be one that helps others up in consciousness. No longer do I judge anyone or make up stories about anyone, including myself. I know the truth. We are all divine. Right here, right now. We are all divine. And I declare right now that we've freed our minds from anything that has been keeping us stuck. We're open at the top. Open to the universe to fulfill itself through us, as us, by us. And how wonderful this is. I know this brings us more joy, more happiness, more love, more peace, more abundance and health and all those things that we might desire. And so I celebrate life itself. Gratefully, I celebrate life, seeing it everywhere and seeing it shimmer. With a grateful heart, I release these words into spiritual law, knowing that they are already so. and so it is. So this morning we get to hear Les and Jeff. Let's welcome them up here.